These are images of northern Kenya, a vast arid and semi-arid region with scarce resources. It is home to a number of ethnic groups such as the Samburu, Rendile, Somali, Gabra, Borana, Burgi, and the count continues. Although they are diverse in dialect, they share a strong similarity in their way of life. Pastoralism is the common source of their livelihood, yet at the same time, the source of their perennial disagreement and conflict. It is estimated that 15 billion Kenya shillings was lost to cattle rustling and banditry between 1999 and 2002 in pastoral areas. Banditry alone claimed 1,200 lives between 1995 and 2000. The most affected areas are Samburu, Marsabit, Isiolo, Wajir, Moyale, and Mandera.
The conflict has mainly been on pasture and water, and because of the influx of sophisticated firearms across the border from Ethiopia and Somalia, then highway banditry also started.
It is song and dance as these women engage in a colorful display of culture. Life here revolves around ownership of cattle, as this dance epitomizes. Traditionally, women play a major role in conflict management amongst the pastoralist communities in Kenya. They are known to sing war songs in praise of warriors and ridicule those that are perceived as cowards, thus contributing to flare up in conflicts. In recognition of this fact, local peace committees are now involving women in peace-building initiatives.
Hata watu ya makanisa, wakati ya uchaguzi wetu tunahusisha makanisa, wazee, wamama na vijana.
Samani, hii mambo ya salama, hii mambo ya wizi, hii abana husika kina mama. Wazee, warani tu, abana wazee, warani. Hata bande ya Borana ni vijana. Samburu ni warani.
Conflict remains probably the single biggest obstacle to sustainable development in northern Kenya. A lot of resources are channeled towards peace building and security operations at the expense of development initiatives. In recent peace talks held at Wamba in Samburu district, accusations and counter-accusations dominated proceedings as representatives of peace committees from Rift Valley and eastern provinces aired their grievances. Here, a representative of Isiolo Peace Committee gives an account of property and lives they have lost.
Ng'ombe tumepoteza nyingi, tumejaribu kufuatilia watu zetu kwa kila njia tumeshindwa, yale kupita kwetu tunaharakisha yetu, kifika pande hii ni kama imeingia kiama, hatupati.
And the Meru North Peace Committee representatives has this to say.
Tuseme ukweli, ng'ombe tutaanza kurudisha lini, wale wameuawa watalipwa namna gani, ndio watu watulie. Hakuna kiongozi naambia, leo bana ambia watu waende wakaue.
In his response, a former provincial commissioner, Mr. Francis Lekolol, is of another view.
Meru afungi safari kwenda kutafuta ng'ombe, anaongojea tu kuibiwa. Lakini tuligundua baadaye hata Wameru ndio wezi hata kuliko Borana na Samburu.
All in all, the meeting resolved to continue with regular inter-community peace meetings in the area so as to foster understanding and harmony.
Tumesema bunduki ambazo ziko katika mikono ya watu sifanye nini? Zichukuliwe, disarmament. Tumesema vile vile kuwe na workshop ya wazee wa amani kutoka district mbalimbali. Nyinyi wenyewe mtasema ni kila district yatoa ngapi.
Collaboration and networking is the fountain of peace building and conflict management. It is in this spirit that ITDG Eastern Africa, in conjunction with Panos Eastern Africa, piloted the production and airing of a Borana language radio program in Marsabit. These broadcasts have enhanced wider inclusion, breaking the language barrier that limited access to information by pastoralists.
She's saying she belongs to the Karsasimiti women group, and all the group members, there are 30 of them, and they have made sure that everybody has listened to this program, and it is very, very relevant. They've learned, they have known how people are really involved in themselves in the peace process, and they were also even able to add their own ideas and share it with other people.
People have been telling us that they have heard some programs over the radio. Some they said, we heard you speaking, we heard so and so speaking. So themselves, they evaluated the programs and they valued them. And they said it was wonderful, and they said we have to continue with the program.
And those voices behind the radio messages were rewarded by ITDG when the Peace and Reconciliation Action Youth Group, in short, Para Youth Group, was presented with musical instruments for their efforts in peace building. In appreciation, the youth group promised to come up with even more appealing peace messages using the new instruments. As a further complementary measure to the joint effort of communication, ITDG also presented a motorbike to the Marsabit Peace Committee for Mobility, Early Warning and Rapid Response in their peace-building endeavors.
Tumewaletea pikipiki moja ambaye itatumika kwa kazi yao. Paratim amefanya kazi mzuri, na leo tumeleta zawadi kidogo, sio kubwa, kidogo ya kuwezesha hawa kufanya kazi yao ya kawaida, sio ya nje ya Ulaya, lakini katika Ulaya yao.
No sooner had the presentation ceremony ended than the Para Youth Group set off on a road show through a marketplace with tunes blaring from their latest acquisition. Awareness creation and conflict management of the project, 6 among others. The registration of schools, women and youth groups interested in participating in poetry and drama in each district. Facilitation of drama and poetry festivals and competitions. Community sensitization through organized drama at public gatherings. Documentation and dissemination of peace initiatives in pastoralist area. Cross-border harmonization between Kenya, Uganda, Sudan, and Ethiopia. Strengthening institutional capacities of pastoral communities is a sure approach to reducing conflicts in northern Kenya. In partnership with other organizations, ITDG Eastern Africa has been facilitating training workshops and exposure tours for the committees. After a series of training workshops, even the once marginalized women folk are now able to come together and operate small businesses. This micro dairy processing facility is a further testimony of what can be generated as alternative livelihoods through capacity building.
We've been working closely with Oxfam and the other local NGOs on the ground, and we are also supporting small CBOs, building their capacity so that they can carry on the work when we are not there.
Northern Kenya is an area that provides a common border with neighboring countries of Uganda, Sudan, Somalia, and Ethiopia. It is indeed a frontier district. Pastoralists themselves do not recognize these artificial borders that tend to restrict them, for their lifestyles are dictated by the availability of natural resources such as pasture and water. The complexity of the conflicts in this area is therefore increased by the presence of international borders.
We have developed cross-border peace committees. These are elders from Kenya, elders from Ethiopia. In collaboration of the government of Kenya and government of Ethiopia, we constituted these committees, which manages the conflict which transcends the border.
The recognition and support of customary institutions of conflict management by governments in the region has presented a welcome policy shift towards these traditional structures. Here, for instance, the local administration get involved in a compensation exercise as the Rendile community make reparation for the slain and injured members of the Borana community, including their raided cattle. This is in keeping with the spirit of the Modogashe Declaration involving the communities. Modogashe Declaration states that for every person killed, 100 cattle has to be paid as compensation, while for any injuries, 15 cattle are provided, and for livestock stolen, 5 times the rated number is paid back. While handing over livestock as compensation to the families of the victims, Marsabit Peace Committee Chairman observed that Modogashe Declaration has curbed cattle rustling as it acts as a deterrent to the signatory communities.
I think the best way to deal with conflict in this region is to involve the communities and also to have partnership coalition, like the civil society needs to come together rather than every organization rushing on their own way. Needs to have some sort of a coalition of ideas, resources, and so on. But at the end of the day, remember the community themselves are the resources, and they are the best conflict resolution mechanism in the area.
Conflict in northern Kenya is centered on the exploitation of limited natural resources. Therefore, it can best be solved using traditional conflict resolution mechanisms. It is in this spirit that ITDG Eastern Africa is endeavoring to find solutions with the local peace committees so that they can avoid confrontation and seek reconciliation.